Could this be the best guitar for beginners? We are back with a video that's going to interrupt my regularly scheduled programming. This is a quick mini review and first impressions of this new Harley Benton ST-JAMster. This one's in sparkling candy apple red. So we're gonna do a quick unboxing, get right into this, and I'm gonna let you hear it as well. It does look like it was once opened, so I'm hoping that means there was a quality inspection. We might need to check this out later. This does come with a trem arm and tools, and it comes with the cheap cable like they typically throw in. I'd be okay if they didn't include these. There's a little bit of foam in here. This box came inside a larger shipping box, so it doesn't look like the outside of the box is damaged. It does feel somewhat hefty, definitely not super light. And here's the headstock. And let's check out the body. Oh. Look at this finish. This is that sparkling candy apple red. Like that is definitely bright. It's a little dusty. Right out of the box, I'm seeing some dust on here. It's got the paper on the strings. A lot of people ask what this paper is for. I've been told that it helps prevent the strings from leaving impressions in the frets if something like heavy is set on the guitar. And I think it also maybe helps with like corrosion, moisture, things like that when it's being shipped. I can say this looks really sweet. I like the logo on the headstock. It's got black hardware, which is pretty unique. Not a ton of guitars are released with black hardware. I don't feel any sharp fret edges whatsoever. The action looks reasonable, maybe a tad high. I don't expect it to be perfect. I'll measure it up later. So it does have a black neck plate, and it does have the plastic underneath it. Some people are like, let's remove it immediately. I'm probably not gonna take the neck off to get the plastic out. It does have the thinner trem block. I don't expect it to be full size on a budget instrument like this. I paid right around $119 plus shipping. And the shipping was surprisingly good. I used DHL, I did not use UPS. And it was cheaper than UPS typically charges. It was, I think, like 52 bucks for shipping to the US. And I did not have to pay any tariffs, any increased taxes or anything. I did notice when I was looking at the back side that there is some paint splatter or something on this bottom horn. I do see some polishing compound throughout the body, and it is dusty as mentioned. Yeah, look at that. Not a big deal, I'm gonna clean it up anyway. This looks like a composite fingerboard, or maybe it's like dyed very dark. It doesn't look bad. I have seen these a lot, or similar looking fretboards on Festley guitars recently. I'm not sure if they're the same or not, but this one feels much nicer. And the frets actually feel very smooth so far. I think they're really nicely polished. I don't feel any grittiness whatsoever. So between the nice fret ends and the polished frets, that is very good. We're gonna talk about the controls later. The layout here is going to take some getting used to. I like the black knobs. All right, let's go over some specs. Now I will skip a lot of the specs because you can see them all on the website. If you want, just look it up. I'm gonna go over some like highlights. All right, we have a poplar body, modern C neck. So far it feels good. The nut width is 42 millimeters, 22 frets. It doesn't note here the size of the frets, it just says 22. It has a humbucker, 2 single coils for the configuration. I think that's a really good choice for an entry-level guitar, and you get a lot of variety. In the controls, there are built-in effects. That includes clean and reverb, overdrive, distortion, and distortion with delay. So a pretty cool variety with built-in effects. Now this can switch back and forth between active and passive mode. Interesting. So I was wondering, this actually has what appears to be 2 outputs. Besides the 1/4 inch, it has 2 mini outputs. My understanding is that it's one for headphones and another to record. So that's cool. I can listen with headphones while I run an output through the Mini right into the camera. Now, I purchased kind of a while ago another similar guitar from a different brand, and I haven't reviewed it yet. And that was a big concern I had when I purchased it. I wasn't sure exactly, if it was a stereo or mono output and how I was going to best get sound into the camera. In this case, it looks like they've already thought of that for us, so that's cool. It does require 3 AA batteries, which it says are not included. I'm gonna clean it up a little, take the plastic off, tune it up, and plug it in. So I'll see you soon. What I'm running into is the stereo out for recording doesn't seem to work. No matter what I try, I can't get sound through it. It says it's stereo. I'm using various stereo cables. Not a single one will work. It is possible that I'm missing something. I will confirm that on this guitar, I can't seem to get that to work. I'm not sure what the deal is. So here we are. I'm gonna run through different pickups in clean, and then I'll probably just use one pickup to show you the different settings here. So this is the bridge pickup, the humbucker in clean. Now this is the second time I am back recording these tone samples. The first time I don't think it was an accurate representation based on what I was hearing in the headphones through this guitar. So I'm recording again with a mic, with the amp on clean. And this is bridge and middle. Middle, here's the middle setting. Now we've got the middle and the neck pickups. And here's the neck pickup. I'll probably stay in the humbucker for the most part, just so we can get a sense for the effects. The first knob is the volume. The next one does some various tones. It does shift the tones through the various effects and gives some different sort of vibes, different feels. It also does various levels of gain or output. So once you increase and go through the different colors or the different settings, it actually boosts the output. At least that's what it seems to do. And of course, this last one goes through the different settings that we talked about earlier. So we're gonna hear all of those. Using the toggle switch kicks on the preamp so that we can engage the headphone jack or the output. And it also allows us to use our various built-in effects. So with that clean setting, it does actually give you different gain levels. So that is considered, I believe, the first effect. So you can use the clean setting, but with more or less gain. So that starts to kick in those effects. I do consider that an effect because it does change the output, changes the tone a little bit. So let's hear that. So on that last or the highest boost or gain setting, that's when you start to hear that engage especially. I think it's more noticeable there. Here is clean with some reverb. So I'm going through and adjusting the middle knob, which changes the sound, changes the tone. As I push to increase the gain, it seems to actually intensify the effect. So this is all the way up. Now, I think it feels good. The action's about 2 1/4, almost 2 1/2 at the 12th. That's out of the box, no neck adjustments, no other adjustments whatsoever. The neck could use a little adjustment, but it is playable out of the box. It does feel pretty good. The neck, I think, is quite nice. The tuners are decent. They're not a great ratio. It's not easy to get really precise tuning with these, but they're definitely fine for a beginner. I would probably swap these out, but I don't think they have to be swapped out. They do feel nice and smooth. I'm not really getting issues between the tuners and the nut. The paint is really, really nice. There are some imperfections, nothing that I'm too worried about. I'm fine with using the headphones. I don't know that I feel the need to, but I think it's a really cool option for beginners, and I think it's also good for those learning, because then you don't have, to worry about the rest of the house hearing you play or mess up or play around with the settings. So the built-in effects, I think, are really cool. So you can get a ton of variety in sound between various pickups and the different settings with the built-in effects. So that's cool. And I think the clean sounds nice. Let me know in the comments what you think about this guitar, between the way it looks, the way it sounds. This is Overdrive. This channel does introduce some noise, and I noticed that with the headphones previously too. Now, especially once I get the tone really kind of cranked up, that does really bring in some noise. So let's hear that. Can you hear that in the background? But when you make some adjustments, it does go away quite a bit. And it's also much quieter with the humbucker only. So especially once you bring in those single coils, the noise increases quite a bit. Not enough to really bother me. So we're in the third setting. This is the, which one was this? We are now in the distortion setting. I'm pretty happy with how it stays in tune. I stretched out the strings a little bit for a minute, not even. And it seems to be holding tune pretty well. I have not used the trem. I don't really plan to in this video. But overall, I think the layout is easier to understand than I expected. I like the black knobs and that they're knurled. I think that's a nice touch. And I love the black pickguard with this red finish. So I'm definitely enjoying that. Overall, I think this is absolutely great for the price. I think the effects sound pretty good. I don't think they sound premium. They do sound kind of like heavily processed. I don't really think that's a big issue. I think it accomplishes what it's designed to accomplish. But it's safe to say that the pickups do sound pretty good. They're actually honestly better than I expected. Now finally, we're going into distortion with delay. I don't think 9-gauge strings are really the best choice for beginners, mainly because they're so sensitive to the touch and not as forgiving as 10-gauge, in my opinion. I think more manufacturers should use 10-gauge strings on beginner instruments. Let me know what you think about that, because that's just my personal opinion. I don't think there's really any need to immediately upgrade or change anything. I think you'd have a hard time changing the pickguard if you wanted to, but it's black. So I think it's awesome that they didn't go with white. White's boring. Thanks for taking the time to check out the ST-JAMster from Harley Benton. Now, I have lots of videos showing other Harley Benton guitars and lots of guitars in general. So please take a moment to subscribe. Please go through and browse, see what other videos you like. And don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments, because I love to get conversations started on this channel. And I do reply, so feel free to test that theory.